Kevin Morrison stood at the edge of the observation deck and watched the alien creatures parade across the arena floor below. His arms were crossed over his chest, and his face showed no emotion. He had seen dangerous animals before. He had worked with them for 20 years back on Earth. But these alien beasts were something different. The first creature came from a planet called Kralix Prime. It walked on 6 legs, each one thick as a tree trunk. Its skin was dark, purple, and covered in bony plates. When it opened its mouth, green liquid dripped from its teeth. The crowd of aliens in the stands cheered and made clicking sounds that Kevin guessed meant excitement. "That's an acid spitter," Danny Hayes said next to him. Danny was Kevin's assistant, a young man fresh out of the wildlife management program. He held a datapad and read from it quickly. "Says here the acid can melt through most metals in under 30 seconds. Kevin nodded but said nothing. He was not impressed. The creature was big and dangerous, sure, but it moved slowly. Its eyes were dull. It relied on one trick to survive. The next beast came from a world called Threnod. This one looked like it was made of blue crystal. Light passed through its body in strange ways. As Kevin watched, the creature walked straight through a solid wall. Like the wall was not even there. The aliens in the crowd made sounds of approval. "Phase shifter," Danny read. "Can move through solid matter. Nearly impossible to contain or fight." In stern, Kevin raised an eyebrow. That was more interesting. But he had read the reports. The creature was slow to phase. It needed concentration. A smart predator would not give it time. More creatures came out. A thing with tentacles that could strangle prey from 50 feet away. A bird-like hunter with metal feathers sharp as knives. A beast that could change colors to match any background. The Galactic Council had invited species from 70 different worlds to bring their most dangerous predators. They wanted to show off. They wanted to prove their home planets. Bred the strongest hunters. Then a tall alien walked to the center of the arena. It had feathers like a bird, but it stood on 2 legs like a human. Its beak was bright yellow, and its eyes were sharp and mean. Kevin recognized it from the briefing files. This was Quillix, a representative from the Veshan Council. "People of the galaxy," Quillix said, its voice coming through the speakers around the arena. "We have seen the mighty beasts of our great civilizations. Now we come to the newest species in our community. The humans of Earth." The crowd made sounds that Kevin thought might be laughter. He had heard it before. The aliens did not take humans seriously. They looked at Earth's gravity, atmosphere, and temperature, and decided it was a soft world, a easy world. They thought humans were weak because they did not have claws or armor or natural weapons. "What beast has Earth brought to show us?" Quillix asked. The bird alien made a gesture that might have been a shrug. "Perhaps a large feline? A bear creature? We shall see if Earth can match the glory of true death worlds." More sounds that were definitely laughter came from the crowd. Kevin felt Danny tense beside him. "They're mocking us," Danny said quietly. "Let them," Kevin replied. His voice was calm. An official walked over to them. This alien looked like a giant insect with too many arms. "Human Morrison," it said. "Please provide specifications for your entry." Kevin handed over a datapad. The official looked at it, then looked again. Its antenna twitched in what might have been confusion. "You require water?" the official asked. "Yes," Kevin said. 3 feet deep across half the arena floor. Temperature between 70 and 80 degrees. Fresh water is fine, though salt water is preferred. The official made a buzzing sound. "Your creature is aquatic?" "Semi-aquatic," Kevin corrected. The official seemed uncertain. It looked at the datapad again. "These feeding protocols. This says your creature eats 50 pounds of meat per week, and these teeth specifications. This must be an error." "No error," Kevin said. The official walked away, still buzzing. Kevin heard Quillix speaking to other council members on the floor below. They were looking at data screens and making sounds of disbelief. "They think we are bringing a fish," one alien said, loud enough for Kevin to hear. "A large fish. How amusing. Earth is a soft world, another replied. Their oceans are warm and calm. What could they possibly have that would challenge real predators? Kevin allowed himself a small smile. He had tried to warn them. He had sent detailed reports about Earth's biodiversity, about the fact that humans shared their planet with creatures that could kill them easily, about how surviving on Earth meant learning to respect the power of nature. But the aliens had not listened. They saw humans as small and weak and assumed everything from Earth must be the same. Danny shifted nervously. Kevin, are you sure about this? I mean, Thor is. He's really big, and this arena was not built for something like him. I checked the specifications, Kevin said. The arena can handle it. The question is whether they can handle it. Station security began filling the arena floor with water. Pumps hummed as thousands of gallons poured in. The water settled at exactly 3 feet deep across half the space. The aliens in the crowd seemed confused. Some made sounds that were probably jokes about humans needing pools to swim in. Kevin walked down from the observation deck to the arena floor level. He moved to the large transport container he had brought from Earth. It was 15 feet long and 8 feet wide, made of reinforced steel. Through the small windows, he could see movement inside. A security officer approached him. This one looked like a lizard that walked upright. Human, we must inspect the creature before release. Safety protocols require visual confirmation. Fine, Kevin said. He unlocked the container but did not open it yet. But you should probably step back. The security officer made a sound that might have been a laugh. I have handled dangerous fauna from 30 different worlds. I doubt your Earth fish will trouble me. Kevin shrugged. Don't say I didn't warn you. He opened the container. The first thing visible was scales. Dark, gray-green scales. Each one the size of a human hand. Then, eyes. Ancient yellow eyes with vertical pupils. Eyes that had looked out at the world for millions of years, unchanged because they were already perfect. Then, the teeth. Rows and rows of teeth. Each one 3 inches long, designed to grip and tear and never let go. 80 teeth in total, visible as the massive jaws opened slightly. The security officer took 3 quick steps backward. It made a sound Kevin had never heard before. A sound of pure instinct, saying that a predator was near. Kevin reached into the container with a long handling pole. He guided the creature slowly toward the opening. Its body kept coming, and coming, and coming. 17 feet from nose to tail. Nearly 2,000 pounds of pure muscle wrapped in armor that had turned away evolution's challenges for 200 million years. A saltwater crocodile, the largest and most dangerous crocodilian species on Earth. Thor slid into the arena water without making a splash. He moved like liquid, like he was part of the water itself. Only his eyes and nostrils showed above the surface. The rest of his massive body disappeared into the shallow pool. The arena went silent. Quillix stared down from the council platform. Its beak hung open. Around the stands, aliens had stopped making sounds. They just watched the water, trying to understand what they were seeing. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin said calmly into his comm unit. Earth's entry to the exhibition. Meet Thor. He's a saltwater crocodile, one of the apex predators from our planet. Please keep all limbs away from the water. The silence stretched. Then chaos began. Thor lay perfectly still in the shallow water. Only his eyes and the top of his head were visible above the surface. To someone who did not know better, he might have looked like a floating log or a piece of debris, but Kevin knew better. He had worked with crocodiles long enough to recognize that stillness. It was not rest. It was patience. The patience of a hunter that could wait for hours without moving a single muscle. The aliens in the arena stands were no longer laughing. They stared at the water in confused silence. Their sensors and data pads were going wild, with readings they could not understand. The bite force measurements must be wrong, one alien scientist said loudly. Nothing alive should have jaws that strong. Nothing alive should have jaws that strong. The armor plating, another said. Those scales. They register as harder than our military vehicle armor. Quillix stood on the council platform, its feathers puffed up in what Kevin recognized as agitation. This is absurd. It is just a large reptile. A primitive creature that lies in water. Surely you do not expect us to be impressed by something so simple. Kevin smiled. He had heard that argument before. People always underestimated crocodiles because they looked simple. They did not understand that simple was not the same as primitive. Crocodiles had not changed in 200 million years because they did not need to change. They had achieved perfection. The arena master, a tall alien with gray skin and 4 arms, stepped forward. Very well. We shall test this earth creature. Release the Crocodile acid spitter. A gate opened on the far side of the arena. The 6-legged purple beast that Kevin had seen earlier emerged. It was easily 20 feet long and probably weighed 3,000 pounds. Its bony plates gleamed under the arena lights. Green acid dripped from its mouth onto the floor, where it sizzled and burned small holes in the metal. The acid spitter walked toward the water slowly. It was confident. Why would it not be? It was the apex predator of its planet. Nothing there could challenge it. Thor did not move. His eyes tracked the approaching creature. But otherwise he remained absolutely still. The acid spitter reached the edge of the water and paused. It lowered its head to investigate. That was its mistake. Thor exploded from the water in a burst of speed that should not have been possible for something so large. 1 second he was still. The next second his jaws were clamped around the acid spitter's front leg. The sound of bone crunching echoed through the arena. The acid spitter screamed. It tried to pull away, but Thor's grip was absolute. Those 80 teeth, each one angled backward, locked together like a trap that could never be opened. The bite force that the alien scientists had doubted was now on full display. 5,000 pounds per square inch, enough to crush bone like paper. Then Thor did something that made every alien in the arena stand up in shock. He began to spin, the death roll, a technique refined over millions of years. Thor twisted his entire body in the water, using his massive weight and the power of his tail to rotate. The acid spitter, despite being larger, had no chance. It was pulled completely off its feet and dragged into the water. The roll continued. Once, twice, 3 times. The water turned violent with thrashing and foam. The acid spitter tried to use its acid, spraying it everywhere. But Thor's armored scales protected him. The acid that would melt metal in 30 seconds could not penetrate osteoderms that had evolved to withstand the crushing teeth of other crocodiles. After 30 seconds, the thrashing stopped. Thor released the acid spitter and backed away. The purple creature lay in the water, still breathing, but completely broken. Its leg was destroyed. Its body was twisted. It made weak sounds of pain and fear. Medical teams rushed forward with floating stretchers. They pulled the acid spitter from the water and carried it away. The creature would live, but it would never fight again. The arena was silent except for the sound of water dripping from Thor's jaws. The crocodile had returned to his previous position, eyes and nostrils above water, body hidden. Like nothing had happened, Kevin activated his comm unit. For those interested, what you just saw is called a death roll. Saltwater crocodiles use it to subdue prey larger than themselves. Thor has the strongest bite force of any living creature on Earth. His jaws can apply over 5,000 pounds of pressure per square inch. For reference, that's about 3 times stronger than a great white shark. He paused to let that information sink in. Around the arena, aliens were checking their data pads, confirming his words with their own sensors. Crocodiles evolved over 200 million years ago, Kevin continued. They survived the extinction event that killed the dinosaurs. They survived ice ages and climate changes, and every challenge nature could throw at them. They survived because they are perfect predators. Their design has not changed because it does not need to change. Quillix made a harsh sound. Enough. So your creature can fight one opponent. This proves nothing. Crocodile's acid spitters are weak compared to true predators. The arena master looked uncertain. Council member, perhaps we should pause the exhibition. This earth creature is more dangerous than we anticipated. No, Quillix said sharply. We will see if this reptile is truly worthy of respect. Release 3 challengers at once. Kevin felt a flash of anger. That violates protocol. This is supposed to be an exhibition, not a death match. Are you afraid your creature cannot handle it? Quillix asked. Perhaps Earth animals are not as impressive as you claim. Kevin bit back his response. He looked down at Thor, still motionless in the water. The crocodile had been in fights before. Wild crocodiles fought each other for territory all the time, and Thor was one of the largest males Kevin had ever worked with. But 3 opponents at once was dangerous. Not for Thor, but for the other creatures. Kevin did not want to see animals hurt just because aliens needed to prove something, but he could see he had no choice. If he refused, the aliens would dismiss Earth as weak, and Thor would not get the respect he deserved. Fine, Kevin said, but their injuries are on you. The arena master hesitated, then activated the release gates. 3 creatures entered the arena from different sides. The first was a tentacled hunter from a water world. It had 10 long arms covered in suckers. Each arm could strangle prey from 50 feet away. It slithered into the water on Thor's left. The second was a pack hunter from a high-gravity world. It looked like a cross between a wolf and a lizard, with powerful legs and claws like knives. It circled the water's edge on Thor's right. The third was an aerial predator with metal feathers. It swooped down from above, ready to strike at anything that showed weakness. Thor remained still. His eyes tracked all 3 threats at once. Kevin knew what people thought when they looked at crocodiles. They thought the reptiles were dumb, that they acted on pure instinct. But that was wrong. Crocodiles were smart. They learned. They planned. They understood tactics better than most people realized. The tentacled hunter moved first. It sent 2 arms reaching toward Thor through the water, trying to wrap around his body. Thor's tail whipped sideways faster than the eye could follow. It caught the tentacles like a club, stunning them. Then his jaws snapped closed on the reaching arms. The creature pulled back, leaving 2 severed tentacles floating in the water. The pack hunter saw an opening and leaped. It came at Thor from the side, claws extended, going for the neck. But crocodiles have no blind spots in water. Thor sensed the movement and rolled slightly. The pack hunter's claws scraped across his armored back, doing no damage. Before the creature could recover, Thor's jaws caught its hind leg. Another death roll. More thrashing, more broken bones. The aerial predator dove from above, metal feathers aimed like spears at Thor's eyes. Kevin almost shouted a warning. Then he remembered that crocodiles had protective membranes over their eyes underwater. Millions of years of evolution had prepared Thor for exactly this kind of attack. Thor submerged completely. The aerial predator's strike hit only water. As the bird tried to pull up, Thor erupted from below. Jaws wide, the bird barely escaped, leaving behind a spray of metal feathers. All 3 creatures retreated, injured and afraid. They had learned what the aliens were now learning. That Earth might look like a soft world from space, but its children were forged in a crucible that most galactic species could not imagine. Kevin looked up at Quillix. The bird alien was staring at Thor with what might have been fear or respect, or both. Anything else you want to test? Kevin asked calmly. The alarm started 30 minutes after Kevin had secured Thor back in his holding tank. A loud, sharp sound that meant emergency on the station. Kevin was in the mess hall drinking coffee when the sound began. He knew immediately what it meant. Thor, he said quietly. Danny looked up from his meal. What? No, you locked him in. I saw you check the seals twice. Kevin was already moving toward the door. I checked the seals on a tank designed to hold alien creatures, not Earth creatures. There's a difference. They ran through the station corridors. Other people and aliens rushed past them in the opposite direction, away from whatever danger had triggered the alarm. Kevin pushed through the crowd until he reached the holding area. The tank was empty. The reinforced walls had claw marks scraped deep into the metal. One corner panel had been bent outward, creating a gap just wide enough for a 17-foot crocodile to slip through. Water covered the floor, and a trail of wet marks led down the corridor toward the station's water treatment facility. A security officer was standing near the tank, its insect-like body trembling. Kevin recognized it as the same official who had approved the tank specifications. How? The officer buzzed. How did it break through reinforced steel? Crocodiles have been breaking through enclosures since humans started trying to contain them, Kevin said. He knelt down and examined the bent panel. He could see where Thor had used his claws to grip the edge, then leveraged his entire body weight to pry it open. They're smart. People forget that. They watch and learn and wait for opportunities. The officer made a distressed sound. It has entered the water treatment facility. That sector provides clean water for 3,000 station residents. If the creature contaminates the supply or damages the equipment, he won't contaminate anything, Kevin said. Crocodiles are actually very clean animals. But the equipment might be a problem. Alarms blared louder. Kevin's comm unit activated. A voice he recognized as Quillix spoke urgently. Human Morrison, your creature is terrorizing the water sector. Station security has been unable to contain it. If you cannot control your animal, we will be forced to eliminate it. Kevin felt cold anger rise in his chest. If you harm Thor, Earth will withdraw from all galactic cooperation. That's a promise. Then stop it, Quillix said, before someone dies. Kevin closed the connection and looked at Danny. Get my handling equipment. The long poles, the meat from cold storage, everything. Meet me at water treatment in 10 minutes. Danny nodded and ran off. Kevin headed toward the water treatment facility alone. He passed groups of aliens who pressed themselves against the walls when they saw him coming. He heard them whisper words like Death Worlder and Dangerous and those creatures. The water treatment facility was huge. It took up 3 entire levels of the station and contained massive tanks, filtration systems, and kilometers of pipes. Kevin entered through the main access door and found chaos. Station security was everywhere. They had set up energy barriers around the main tank. But Thor had already smashed through 2 of them. The barriers crackled and sparked where his armored body had pushed through. Maintenance drones floated in the water, and Thor was systematically destroying them, perhaps thinking they were food or threats. A commander approached Kevin. This alien looked like a praying mantis, all sharp angles and quick movements. Your creature has claimed the central tank as territory. It attacks anything that enters the water. We cannot repair the systems while it remains. Kevin studied the situation. The central tank was 50 feet across and 20 feet deep, perfect for a saltwater crocodile. Thor had probably found the water temperature and space comfortable. From his perspective, he had found a nice habitat and was defending it. Exactly what his instincts told him to do. Give me 1 hour, Kevin said. I can get him out. Unacceptable, the commander said. The facility must be restored immediately. We are preparing to vent the entire tank to space. The vacuum will eliminate the threat. Thanks for watching. The vacuum will eliminate the threat. No, Kevin said firmly. Thor is a protected species under Earth law. You kill him, you'll start a diplomatic incident that will make your careers very short. A new voice spoke from behind him. He's right. Kevin turned to see a woman in a science uniform walking toward them. She had red hair tied back and carried a datapad covered in notes. Kevin recognized her from the arrival briefing. Megan Cross, a xenobiologist who studied Earth species for the Galactic Council. Dr. Cross, the commander said. This is a security matter. It's a diplomatic matter, Megan corrected. She showed her datapad to the commander. I've been researching Earth fauna since the exhibition. Do you know what I found? Crocodilians are protected on Earth. All species. Humans made it illegal to kill them after they nearly drove them to extinction. Now they spend enormous resources to preserve them. Why would any species protect a predator? The commander asked. Because humans understand something most galactic species don't, Megan said. She looked at Kevin. They understand that apex predators are important. That removing them from an ecosystem causes collapse. Earth's oceans, rivers, and wetlands need crocodilians to function properly. Without them, other species populations explode. Plants die. Water quality drops. The whole system fails. Kevin nodded. It was good to hear someone else understand. Crocodiles have been apex predators for 200 million years. They're not just animals. They're pillars that hold up entire ecosystems. The commander's antenna twitched in frustration. Then what do you suggest? We cannot allow it to remain in the water treatment facility. Let Kevin remove it safely, Megan said. Give him the time and tools he needs. The commander looked between them. Then at the central tank where Thor floated peacefully, surrounded by broken drones and energy barriers. Finally, it clicked its mandibles in what might have been agreement. 1 hour, it said. But if you fail, I am authorized to use lethal force. Kevin didn't waste time arguing. Danny arrived with the equipment, and Kevin began preparing. He stripped down to basic clothes that could get wet. He checked the handling poles, making sure they were solid. He took the fresh meat from the cooler and separated it into portions. Kevin, Danny said quietly, are you really going in there? Have to, Kevin said. Thor won't respond to drones or robots. He needs to see and smell me. He needs to understand that it's time to cooperate. He could kill you in seconds. He could. Kevin agreed. But he won't. Thor and I have been working together for 5 years. He knows me. More importantly, he knows I respect him. Megan walked over. I want to help. Tell me what I can do. Kevin appreciated the offer. Talk to the council. Explain why this happened. These aliens built a tank based on specifications for their creatures. They didn't understand that Earth animals think differently. We don't just react on instinct. We problem solve. What should I tell them about Earth? Megan asked. Kevin looked at the water where Thor waited. Tell them the truth. Tell them that Earth is different from their worlds. Tell them that our planet is harsher, more violent, more dangerous than they can imagine. Tell them that humans didn't become the dominant species by being the strongest or the fastest or the most well-armed. We became dominant by learning to survive alongside creatures like Thor. He paused, gathering his thoughts. Tell them that every day on Earth, humans share space with animals that could kill them. Crocodiles, sharks, bears, lions, venomous snakes and spiders, hippos that can bite a person in half, elephants that can crush vehicles. We live in oceans that have creatures the size of their spacecraft. We live on land where one wrong step could mean death. And yet humans thrive, Megan said softly. We thrive because we learned respect, Kevin said. We learned that you don't defeat nature. You understand it. You work with it. You give it space and respect its power. That's what these aliens don't understand. They think dominance is about control, but real dominance is about coexistence. He picked up his equipment and walked toward the water. The security forces backed away, giving him room. The commander watched with its large eyes focused intently on every movement. Kevin stood at the edge of the central tank. Thor floated in the middle, his body barely visible beneath the surface. Just eyes and nostrils, watching, waiting. Hey, big guy, Kevin said in a calm voice. I know you're confused. This isn't your swamp back home. But we need to get you out of here. These people are scared. And scared people make bad decisions. So let's do this the easy way. Thor's eyes tracked Kevin, but the crocodile did not move. Kevin took a piece of meat and tossed it into the water, several feet away from Thor. The crocodile's head turned slightly, acknowledging the food but not taking it. He was not hungry. He was comfortable where he was. All right, Kevin said. The hard way it is. He stepped into the water. The water was warm, which was good. Cold water would have made Thor sluggish and unpredictable. Kevin waded in slowly, keeping his movements smooth and deliberate. Every action was calculated. No sudden movements. No splashing. Nothing that would trigger Thor's prey drive. Behind him, Kevin heard aliens making sounds of disbelief. They probably thought he was insane, walking into water with an apex predator. But Kevin knew something they did not. Crocodiles were not mindless killing machines. They were intelligent hunters who could recognize familiar individuals and respond to consistent patterns. Thor's eyes followed Kevin's every step. The crocodile's body remained motionless, but Kevin could see the slight tension in his posture. Thor was alert, analyzing, deciding whether Kevin was a threat, prey, or something else. "Easy," Kevin said softly. His voice was steady, the same tone he always used with Thor during feeding time back on Earth. "It's just me. We've done this before. You know the routine." He stopped moving when he was 10 feet from Thor. This was the critical distance. Close enough for Thor to reach him in one explosive burst. Far enough that Kevin could see the attack coming if Thor decided to strike. Kevin held up the handling pole. It was a simple tool, just a long stick with a padded loop at the end. He had used it hundreds of times to guide crocodiles safely. The pole was not a weapon, it was a communication tool, a way to direct Thor's attention without threatening him. "Remember this?" Kevin moved the pole slowly through the water. Thor's eyes tracked it. "This means we're working. This means it's time to cooperate. Thank you for watching." "Thanks for watching." From the observation area, Megan's voice came through a speaker. She was talking to someone. Probably the council members. "What you're witnessing is 20 years of experience. Kevin Morrison is one of Earth's leading experts in crocodile behavior. He has worked with over 300 individual crocodiles. He knows their body language, their temperament, their patterns." Kevin appreciated her commentary. It helped explain what he was doing to an audience that did not understand Earth animals. He moved closer to Thor. Now only 8 feet away. The water came up to his waist. "Crocodiles have been on Earth since the age of dinosaurs," Megan continued. "They survived multiple mass extinction events. They are one of evolution's greatest success stories. And humans learned to coexist with them not by domination, but by understanding." Kevin reached into his pocket and pulled out a small piece of meat. He tossed it directly in front of Thor. This time, the crocodile moved. His jaws opened and closed, taking the meat in one smooth motion. Not aggressive, just feeding behavior. "Good," Kevin said. He took another step closer. 6 feet now. "That's right. We're friends. We're a team." Thor's body language shifted slightly. The tension eased. His tail, which had been curved and ready to strike, relaxed into a more neutral position. Kevin recognized the signs. Thor was remembering. This human brought food. This human moved predictably. This human was not a threat. Quillix's voice crackled over the speaker. "This is madness. The creature will attack. One wrong move, and the human dies." "Maybe," Megan replied. "But that's the difference between Earth and other worlds. Humans have been making these calculations for thousands of years. They learned to read predator behavior because their survival depended on it. Early humans lived in areas with lions, leopards, hyenas, crocodiles. They had to understand these animals, or die." Kevin was now only 4 feet from Thor, close enough to touch. Close enough that if Thor wanted to attack, Kevin would have no chance to escape. But he kept his movements calm and steady. He slowly extended the handling pole and gently tapped Thor's snout with the padded end. Thor's response was immediate but controlled. He opened his jaws in a threat display, showing all 80 teeth. A warning. Kevin did not flinch. He had seen this display 1,000 times. "I know," Kevin said calmly. "You're annoyed. You found a nice spot and now I'm bothering you. But we can't stay here. These people don't understand you. They're scared, and scared people hurt things they don't understand." He tapped Thor's snout again, more firmly this time. Then he used the pole to guide Thor's head to the left. It was the same signal he used during training sessions. "Turn this way. Follow me." Thor resisted at first. But then, slowly, his massive body began to move. He followed the guidance of the pole, trusting the familiar pattern. Kevin felt a wave of relief. Thor was cooperating. "That's it," Kevin encouraged. "Just like back home. Nice and easy." He began walking backward through the water, using the pole to keep Thor's attention focused. The crocodile followed, moving through the water with barely a ripple. To the watching aliens, it must have looked like magic. A human controlling a 2,000-pound predator with nothing but a stick and calm words. But Kevin knew it was not control. It was partnership. It was mutual understanding built over years of consistent interaction. Thor could choose to attack at any moment. He followed Kevin because he had learned that following Kevin led to good outcomes. Food, safety, comfort. "Kevin," Danny called from the edge of the tank. "The transport container is ready. Can you get him there?" "Working on it," Kevin replied. He continued guiding Thor toward the exit point. The crocodile was moving well, staying calm, trusting the process. Megan was still talking to the council members. In Earth's history, there are countless examples of humans working with dangerous animals. Horses that could kick and kill. Dogs bred from wolves. Even modern humans keep snakes, spiders, and large cats as study subjects. It seems insane to species from safer worlds. But to humans, it's normal. Why? An alien voice asked. Kevin thought it might be the Mantis commander. Why would humans constantly put themselves near creatures that could kill them? Because that's what life on Earth requires, Megan said. Earth is what we call a death world. High gravity, extreme weather, aggressive fauna, dangerous flora, diseases, parasites. Everything on Earth is trying to kill everything else. The oceans have sharks and jellyfish and octopuses with venom. The land has predators in every ecosystem. Even the plants are dangerous. Some can poison you from touch. Others have thorns that can pierce flesh. She paused. Kevin could hear pages turning. Like she was reading from notes. Humans evolved in Africa, surrounded by the most dangerous megafauna on the planet. Lions, leopards, hyenas, Cape buffalo, hippos, which kill more humans than any other large animal, crocodiles in every river, venomous snakes in the grass, and humans survived. Not because they were stronger, they survived because they were smarter. Because they learned. Kevin reached the edge of the tank. The transport container was there, its entrance ramp leading into the water. Now came the hard part. Getting Thor to enter voluntarily. "Thor," Kevin said. He tapped the ramp with the pole. "You know this. This is the traveling box. It means we're going somewhere." Thor stopped moving. His eyes studied the container. Kevin could see him thinking. Crocodiles had excellent memories. Thor remembered the container from the journey to the station. It was safe. It had food. It led to new water eventually. But Thor also liked where he was now. The water was good. The temperature was right. Why leave? Kevin pulled out another piece of meat, larger this time. He placed it on the ramp, halfway up. "Come on. You know the deal. Food equals cooperation." Thor's gaze shifted between Kevin and the meat. Kevin waited. This was the moment that would determine success or failure. He could not force Thor into the container. The crocodile was too strong, too dangerous. Thor had to choose. Long seconds passed. The watching aliens were silent. Even the station's background hum seemed quieter. Then Thor moved. He swam forward and climbed onto the ramp. His powerful legs pulled his massive body up, inch by inch. He took the meat in one bite and continued forward into the container. Kevin quickly moved to close the door once Thor was fully inside. The locks engaged with solid clicks. He allowed himself to breathe. "Got him," Kevin said into his comm. The observation area erupted in sounds. Relief. Amazement. Confusion. Kevin climbed out of the water and stood dripping on the deck. Danny handed him a towel. "That was incredible," Danny said. "I've never seen anything like that." "That was standard handling procedure," Kevin replied. "We do it all the time on Earth." The Mantis commander approached. Its body language suggested respect now instead of hostility. "Human Morrison, I must apologize. We underestimated both you and your world. That display of skill was remarkable." "It wasn't skill," Kevin said. "It was respect. I respect Thor for what he is. I don't try to dominate him or control him. I work with him. There's a difference. Megan walked over, her datapad still in hand. The council wants to speak with you. They have questions about Earth. Kevin looked at Thor's container. Inside, the crocodile had settled down, calm and comfortable. Tell them. I'll answer their questions. But first, I want Thor checked by a medical team. He's been through stress today. I need to make sure he's healthy before we continue anything else. Of course, the commander said. We will provide the best care. As medical technicians approached the container with scanning equipment, Kevin reflected on what had just happened. The aliens were starting to understand. Earth was not like other worlds, and humans were not like other species. They had been forged in conditions that most galactic civilizations could not imagine surviving. And maybe, just maybe, that made humans valuable in ways no one had expected. 1 week after the incident in the water treatment facility, Kevin stood in the loading bay and watched technicians prepare Thor's transport container for the journey home. The crocodile had become something of a celebrity on the station. Aliens would come to the viewing area just to see him floating peacefully in his temporary habitat. They no longer saw him as a monster. They saw him as something remarkable. Kevin checked the container's seals one final time. Everything was secure. The temperature controls were set correctly. Thor had been fed a full meal 3 hours ago, which would keep him comfortable for the entire trip back to Earth. Kevin Morrison. A familiar voice made him turn around. Quillick stood there, alone. The bird alien's feathers were no longer puffed up in aggression. Its posture was different now. Humble, maybe. Or at least less arrogant than before. Council member, Kevin acknowledged. I came to apologize, Quillick said. The words seemed difficult for it. I was wrong about Earth. Wrong about humans. Wrong about your creatures. My prejudice nearly caused a diplomatic incident and could have resulted in Thor's death. For that, I am deeply sorry. Kevin studied the alien for a moment. Apologies meant something in his culture. They required swallowing pride and admitting fault. He respected that. Accepted, Kevin said. But I need you to understand something. Thor isn't special for Earth. He's normal. Back home, we have thousands of his species living in rivers, estuaries, and coastal areas. People encounter them regularly. And we've learned to coexist because we have no choice. And that is what I am beginning to understand, Quillick said. The Galactic Council is meeting to discuss Earth's status. Many members have questions. Would you be willing to attend? To help us understand your world better? Of course, Kevin said. That's why we came here. Not to show off or intimidate, but to help you understand what life on Earth really means. 2 hours later, Kevin stood in the council chamber. It was a massive room with seating for representatives from 70 different species. The ceiling was high and decorated with symbols from various civilizations. At the center was a holographic display showing Earth rotating slowly. Kevin had prepared a presentation. Not with weapons or military might or anything threatening. Just facts. Images and data about Earth's ecosystems. This is Earth, Kevin began. His voice carried through the chamber clearly. From space, it looks peaceful. Blue oceans. Green continents. White clouds. Many of you looked at these images and decided Earth was a soft world. A safe world. You were wrong. The hologram zoomed in to show Africa. Humans evolved here, in the Great Rift Valley. We did not have claws or fangs or armor or venom. We were not the fastest runners. We were not the strongest fighters. We were prey. Images appeared showing lions, leopards, hyenas, crocodiles. These were our neighbors. These were the creatures we competed with for food and resources. A human standing alone in the African savanna would not survive long. So we learned to be smart. We learned to use tools. We learned to work together. We learned to read animal behavior so we could predict what predators would do next. The hologram shifted to show oceans. Our oceans contain creatures larger than your spacecraft. Blue whales weighing 200 tons. Great white sharks with jaws that can bite through steel. Giant squid with tentacles 40 feet long. jellyfish whose venom can kill in minutes. And humans went into these oceans anyway. We learned to swim. We learned to dive. We learned to fish, and travel, and explore. Megan spoke up from her position in the audience. If I may add context, Earth's biodiversity is extraordinary compared to most galactic worlds. We have identified over 8 million species on Earth, and we believe millions more remain undiscovered. This creates incredible competition. Every organism must adapt or die. Kevin nodded his thanks and continued. You asked why humans protect predators like Thor. Here is why. When humans started farming and building cities, we thought we could eliminate dangerous animals. We hunted wolves to near extinction in many regions. We killed bears and big cats. We removed crocodiles from rivers. And you know what happened? He paused, letting the question hang. The ecosystems collapsed. Without wolves, deer populations exploded and destroyed forests by overgrazing. Without big cats, prey species bred out of control and spread diseases. Without crocodiles, fish populations changed in ways that killed entire river systems. We learned that apex predators are not obstacles to civilization. They are necessary for healthy environments. An alien from the back row spoke up. It looked like a large slug with eye stalks. But surely humans are now the apex predators of Earth. Why do you still need these dangerous creatures? Because we're smart enough to know we're not separate from nature, Kevin said. We're part of it. Remove any piece of an ecosystem, and the whole thing becomes unstable. Earth's environment is harsh, yes, but it's also balanced. And that balance requires every species to play its role, including the predators. The hologram changed again, showing cities. Modern humans live alongside wildlife constantly. In India, leopards hunt in cities of millions of people. In Australia, saltwater crocodiles live in tourist areas. In North America, bears walk through suburban neighborhoods. This is normal for us. We built our civilization while sharing space with creatures that see us as food. How do you manage the risk? The slug alien asked. Education, respect, boundaries, Kevin said. We teach children from a young age about dangerous animals. We learn which behaviors attract predators and which behaviors avoid them. We create protected areas where humans and wildlife have space to coexist. It's not perfect. People die every year from animal attacks. But we accept that risk as part of living on Earth. Quillix stood up. The Council has reviewed the incident with Thor extensively. We acknowledge that our containment protocols were inadequate. We also acknowledge that Kevin Morrison's handling of the situation prevented casualties. Based on this, we recommend Earth be granted full membership in the Galactic Council with a special designation. What designation? Kevin asked. Protected Deathworld status, Quillix said. It means we recognize Earth as a high-danger environment that has produced a uniquely capable species. Humans will be given priority consideration for positions requiring crisis management, environmental adaptation, and survival expertise. Your experience living with danger makes you valuable to the galactic community. Kevin felt a mix of pride and relief. This was what he had hoped for. Not fear of Earth, but respect. After the meeting ended, Kevin returned to the loading bay. The transport ship was ready to depart. Danny was already on board, running final checks on the cargo systems. Megan walked with Kevin to the ship's ramp. You did something important today, she said. You changed how the galaxy sees Earth. I just told the truth, Kevin replied. Earth is dangerous. But danger isn't the same as evil. And learning to live with danger makes us stronger, not weaker. Will you come back? Megan asked. The Council wants to establish an exchange program. Human experts teaching aliens about survival skills and environmental management. Kevin smiled. Maybe. But first, I need to get Thor home. He's been away from his swamp for too long. He needs to get back to his territory. His routine. His life. They shook hands, the human gesture that Megan had learned. Then Kevin boarded the ship. The journey back to Earth took 3 days. Kevin spent most of that time in the cargo bay, monitoring Thor's vital signs and making sure the crocodile remained comfortable. On the final day, as Earth appeared in the view screen, Kevin found himself thinking about everything that had happened. The aliens had expected humans to bring something small and manageable. Instead, they got Thor. A living reminder that Earth was not like other worlds. A demonstration of what 200 million years of evolution could create when every day was a struggle for survival. But more than that, Thor represented something the aliens needed to learn. That strength came in many forms. That intelligence meant understanding rather than dominating. That the most dangerous creatures could also be the most magnificent. The ship landed at a wildlife reserve in northern Australia. It was Thor's home territory, where he had been captured 3 months ago for the exhibition. Kevin had promised to return him to the exact same location. As technicians moved the transport container down the ship's ramp, Kevin opened the viewing window and looked at Thor one last time. The crocodile's ancient eyes stared back. There was no emotion there that a human could read. But Kevin liked to think there was understanding. A mutual respect between two species that had learned to share space on a planet that tried to kill them both. "Thanks for making Earth look good," Kevin said quietly. They carried the container to the edge of Thor's swamp. Kevin personally opened the door and then stepped back. For a moment, Thor remained inside, perhaps deciding whether it was safe to emerge. Then, slowly, the massive crocodile climbed out. He paused at the water's edge. His body was tense, alert. He was checking his territory, making sure nothing had changed while he was gone. Then, satisfied, Thor slid into the murky water and disappeared beneath the surface. Kevin watched the ripples fade. Somewhere out in the galaxy, aliens were learning to see Earth differently. They were learning that humans were not weak, despite lacking claws and armor. They were learning that surviving on a death world required intelligence, adaptability, and respect for nature's power. And perhaps most importantly, they were learning that creatures like Thor were not monsters to be feared. They were masterpieces of evolution. They were survivors of extinction events and climate changes and every challenge that 200 million years could throw at them. They were perfect predators in a world that demanded perfection or death. Kevin's comm unit beeped. A message from the Galactic Council. They wanted him to return in 6 months to help establish the exchange program. They wanted to learn more about Earth's creatures, about the sharks and bears and big cats and venomous species, about how humans managed to build a civilization while surrounded by danger. Kevin smiled and sent back his acceptance. There was a lot to teach. And maybe, through teaching, humans could help the galaxy understand something fundamental. That being from a dangerous world was not a weakness. It was a strength. It meant you learned to adapt, to respect power, to understand that nature was not an enemy to be conquered but a force to be lived with. He took one last look at the swamp where Thor had vanished. Then Kevin turned and walked back to the transport ship. There was work to do, a galaxy to educate, and a whole planet full of magnificent predators waiting to show the universe what Earth was really capable of. Back in the swamp, Thor floated silently in his territory, the ancient predator that had traveled to the stars and back. The crocodile that had changed how an entire galaxy viewed humanity. He remained perfectly still, eyes and nostrils above water, body hidden below, waiting, watching, surviving, just as his ancestors had done for 200 million years, just as he would continue to do for however many millions of years were yet to come, because that was what Earth's children did. They endured, they adapted, they survived, and now the galaxy knew it.